And once again, I'm attempting to go live after rebooting the computer. And I am once again seeing 64% dropped frames and only 1000 kilobits per second being transferred out of my computer, which is not reassuring. So I'm gonna try and do something horrible, which means I'm gonna hop networks and see if that helps. And by hop networks, I mean I'm gonna switch from a cable going into my... Reconnection successful. How many bits are we shooting out? Oh, would you look at that? That looks like a stable 5000 kilobits per second on Wi-Fi instead of Ethernet. Hello. Okay. Are we good? Are we good? Is it happening? Is it over? Is it just beginning? I'm gonna hold on. You know what? Before we get this going, I'm going to... I used going twice. That's a sin in terms of like proper speaking. Fairly certain. Oh, wow, that's loud. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna... Okay, I'm gonna unpause the game so I can see it on the preview in a little moment. This looks pretty smooth. This looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Looks like a stable 60 FPS. So now my question is, if I plug the Ethernet cable back in, because I'd rather be on Ethernet than on wireless, will it break? Okay. I understand. I can hear that on my phone. That's fine, but I wanna find out. Okay, now I should be on a wired connection once again. And it seems to be going at a stable 5000 kilobits per second again. So I think we've resolved the issue by unplugging the cable and plugging it back in. Yeah, okay, yeah, I don't need to actually hear myself on the on the phone, so I'm just gonna pop the chat on there to never lose track of live chat, and I'd like chat to be all messages, because while on desktop there's top chat and live chat, on the phone they are both called live chat, except one is all messages and one is top messages, and it of course defaults to it of course defaults to the one that doesn't actually show you all the messages, because yeah. Okay, hold on, let me check if there's no messages about this. Okay, hopefully everything goes smoothly from this point, because here I was trying to thinking, oh hey, let's just pop on a stream and let's talk for a little bit about, I don't know what, probably about the same topic I always talk about. What that might be, you'll never know. Presumably being stupid in a video game is like at least close to the topic. And then, of course, I boot up the stream and I have to deal with technical difficulties that are already being linked to circumstances, of course, entirely outside of my control. There's literally nothing I could have done to not be late. It would have been impossible. And besides, you know, being a streamer is a hard enough job to the point where you can't really expect such things as basic competency from people who do it, because that would be cruel and unusual, as you don't expect anybody else to do their job properly, right? Like you wouldn't, surely. So then, being a streamer is so hard. You most definitely wouldn't expect a streamer to be able to do anything properly. Okay, anyway. Down there. It's like a shortcut somewhere in here. But I always always forget it. Yeah, I always forget it and I come at it from the other side. Which is fine. I really need to stop taking damage like that, because I'm going to perish. There we go, that's the secret. Do I even have the ability to... Yeah. I like this. I like this. I don't remember, because I probably talked last stream before it ended. I probably talked about what I want to get for those abilities. What? Why am I like... Oh man. That's what I get. That's what I get for not warming up whatsoever. Anyway, hello, welcome to the stream. We're gonna be playing the game from the start once again. That's alright. This is in fact the torture session, where you get to endure the beginning of the game over and over again forever. You know, if you were ever curious about what purgatory looks like, it's a little bit like this. Although presumably purgatory isn't quite this nice to look at. Although that audio's a little loud. In a hot second, while we are gonna view in a cutscene, I'm gonna... Wait, no, the game's gonna pause anyway, so... I need to drag it down in OBS, because that's... But on the other hand, it's not... It's just the loud noise that was loud. The other is, like, somewhat around like those. I guess I'm gonna drag it down a little bit. I wanna be louder than the audio. I think I'm gonna turn it significantly down. I wanna... You know how it is. You gotta have a healthy amount of health in this business. You know, wanna be audible. If I'm not gonna be audible, then why would I even have a microphone? Game audio way loud. It should be better now. Please do inform me if it is if it has improved. I'm hoping it has, but you never know. These things, you never know. I can't wait. I'll get the... Actually, oh, I probably messed with the microphone settings when I was playing CS with some people. Probably messed up the mic. Or, alternatively, it could literally just be Windows deciding to turn down my mic for no discernible reason, which tends to happen. Like, from time to time, they just do that in the background. In fact, I'm actually curious enough to check. Sound control panel. Recording, microphone, properties, levels. Yeah, it's 94 instead of 100 for some reason. That keeps happening. I don't know why, but it keeps happening. Also, it's using, I think, my mic instead of... Hold on. This is probably why the setup is different. And I hope I'm not gonna blow anybody's eardrums out when this enables. Okay, now we should be on this, but I don't know if OBS is using that, which is a problem, perhaps. What device is this, even? I mean, I know it's the mic, but where's... No, it's not filters. Because I have filters on this, but it's not that. It's device default. What is the default device, though? Is it voice meter? This is just technical difficulties of the stream. Okay, this is the default mic, and then I have my own, and it should be this, I believe. And the question is, does it sound good on OBS? So let me enable monitoring for a little bit. Monitor and output. This should sound good. Maybe I'll just pull the mic a little bit closer to myself. And we should be good. I have my noise gate too aggressive, I think. Maybe. I actually don't have a noise gate. That's funny. Yeah, I totally have everything. Like, I'm on top of my own setup, for sure. I drag this down. Or maybe up. I don't know, man. Oh no, I'm double hearing myself, because... Why does this output to desktop audio? That's a little bit stupid. Sorry. Oh, that is probably horrible to listen to. Apologies. I didn't realize when I enable monitoring, it starts streaming my it starts streaming my mic on desktop audio, which makes sense, but I didn't think of that. Okay, now we should be having the premium audio experience, which I think sounds a little bit off due to the noise filters I have on that are pretty aggressive, but hopefully it's like listenable, I guess. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, via trial and error. Oh. Hey. I want your mic. I want your mic audio clearer as part of my big brain 4D chess movie of using Eastern European streamers as an early warning system. I'll hear the air raid sirens before the news reports start coming in. Yep. You know what? Perfectly valid reason. I'll let you know if I hear any air raid sirens. You know, you're presumably gonna hear that, and then you're gonna hear me saying, "Chat, is this real?" And afterwards, I'm presumably gonna perish, and the stream's going to end. That's kind of the scenario we are setting up for. You know, anything to make more interesting content. You know, sometimes it's gotta be an air raid siren that you go for. The things we do for entertainment. Can I can't? Okay, there we go. I like the magnet, so I don't have to run around quite as much. It's much better now. I don't know if I read... You see, I didn't even remember if I read that or not. So if I read it again, then that's presumably, I don't know. It's a disaster. My brain's been completely broken by fixing technical issues for a little bit. Now I can't think straight. Many such cases, sad, etc., etc. And pick your favorite Polish profanity. I will. I have one picked out for the eventuality, but I won't tell you what it is though. You'll have to like appreciate the authentic experience via surprise when it happens. The better now was about your audio. Yeah, I realize. I'm hoping it's good now, basically. And then if I listen to the stream, a little bit of the stream later, and it doesn't sound good, then I'm going to be extremely embarrassed. Although, frankly, for how cheap the microphone I am using is, I think I'm still getting a decent quality out. Like this is probably in like American money. What would that be? Like $8 microphone. So I if not less. So I think it's the filters doing the heavy lifting for this, or maybe it sounds atrocious and I'm just not aware because I'm deaf, which is entirely possible. You never know. Okay. Might like to pull the rock. No, and by rock I don't mean the rock. Do you think they would like add the rock to this game as a sequel? Like in a sequel, rather? surely. Like, what would be a better addition than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? If you really think about it. It's really the only thing missing from this game, but I believe they didn't agree because they added like a bunch of other stuff in the sequel, which is completely irrelevant. All you have to do, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, paying for his appearance perhaps. Not hearing any peeking or fuzz, just you clearly above the game audio. That's good, that's what I'm aiming for. The only thing I'm a little bit concerned about is might sound a little bit weird because I have two different noise filters on. To be fair, tinnitus. Yeah, that is fair. I have two different noise suppression algorithms on this. One is like simpler and the other one is more complex, and I started by using a noise gate, but that is really distracting because the way that works is it basically completely cuts off your mic if there's no sounds for a little bit, and if you use that and you don't have good noise suppression, then you basically end up with a setup where you can hear the audio gate enable and disable, and in turn, what that sounds like is, it sounds awful. Because you just hear, like, when somebody starts to speak, you hear shh, which I don't know if it, yeah, I think it comes through, and then, you know, and then suddenly after a little bit of not speaking, it just mutes. So it becomes very distracting because you actually hear instead of suppressing the noise, it like selectively does it. And so then you end up with your brain, because normally your brain does a pretty good job of suppressing noise on its own. So if you have a constant noise, your brain just gets used to it, and when it does, you no longer hear the noise consciously. But if it's like cutting out and it's cutting back in, then it basically draws attention to it, and it prevents your brain from figuring out, it's like, oh, I should mute this for you. So you just make the experience worse. I think for like a noise gate, you already have to have the noise like really well muted in general, and then the noise gate just prevents any potential additional noise from coming through. Even if like the normal filter would catch it, then you catch the edge cases basically in the periods of silence. Freedom of speech with used lucid rules. I'm not sure what that's referring to, but you know what? I am down for this. I think what we should do is we should institute a minimum number of N-words you need to use per week, and if you fail to meet the quota, you get deported and enslaved, I think. It sounds to me like a good idea. You want to keep people on their toes, ready to to correctly use language when necessary. Thoughts? I mean, you don't really have to give me any thoughts because I know this is the best idea I've ever had. Everyone will just learn Chinese or Korean? For what? For the N-word? What's the idea there? I don't follow. You'll have to explain to me how learning Chinese or Korean counters the N-word quota. I require further explanation because I clearly cannot grasp it. Okay, let's go to this section. I've died in here a bunch of times previously, so that it is a good moment to be severely optimistic about how well this is gonna go. But don't worry, I have a foolproof plan. I will simply not die. Okay, I'm gonna focus up for this part because I keep dying on it. in this exact way, I'm dead. a treacherous corner, and I keep forgetting how to beat it. And the way to beat it is to wait a little bit. I need to jump on it, slide down, and then do 2 hops on the wall and get on top. Because if I hop and I jump immediately, I clip the corner, and there's like a special mechanic when you like jump up when you clip a corner like that. And that basically, instead of landing me on top of the thing, it propels me past it, because it's made to make you not slow down on edges, like regularly, like this edge probably. Normally the... Okay, so if you look at this edge, like... Okay, hold on, can I hit it? No, not really on this. Maybe on this one. No, that's... I need to... Oh, you see the little move he does when I like jump onto the corner? He like reaches with his arms and bounces himself. You see that on this corner basically? So when this happens, like I am expecting this. I'm expecting to be on the wall and be able to jump, and then instead he boosts himself on the corner and I jump into the spike pit. And that is a particularly brutal spike pit because there's no way to escape it before dying. If you miss one jump, you're dead. Because, well, normally you have the save system cover you there, but since I have decided to beat the game in 1 life, I don't have at my disposal. That's fine. Yo. It's fine. We are beating the start again. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And it just so happens that the journey is the same thing over and over again. Joke explanation on this level. Okay, I will take a look on that. I hope it contains like 7 words for you to meet your quota. That's what that's what we want to have. That's how we roll. Oop. Okay, give me the fast damage, and then very soon we're gonna be getting the magnet. Oh. I thought I killed that. Pardon. Oh. Give me these. Give me that. And give me a level, and I'll read the joke explanation, because I'm lame like that. I don't understand jokes. I need the explanation. Let's see. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, I know exactly what this is referring to. Yeah, something like that. You basically, you know, the song becomes very popular because you can use it to fulfill most of your quotas. Although I think that would be banned as an exploit. You can't just get away with simply using that. That feels like cheating. It's not really in the spirit of the challenge. You're not fulfilling the spirit of the law. You're only fulfilling the letter, and the letter is in fact N. I guess. You're fulfilling the first letter of the law only. Not the rest of them. You know what? I don't think you were the last stream, but I've been ranting about a video I watched that was titled something like "Your playtime doesn't matter." It's your playtime doesn't matter. Stop talking about it. And the video is basically I am sick and tired of people on Twitter saying that they have 50,000 hours on a video game and they think that makes them correct, but it in fact it doesn't. Woo. That video has been living in my head rent-free for a while, because I keep finding new ways to be annoyed by it. To the point where I'm like writing out stuff. Right, like why exactly? So it sounds like some Anarchist bullshit. Well, I don't think it is. It's basically, it's an argument against credentialism. That's what he like finishes off with at the end, but it's lacking a lot of nuance, I think, which in favor of calling people who like refer to their playtime as like a dick measuring contest. It's staunchly against that, but in the process it kind of it like I mean, on one hand I am aware that that is a thing that happens. Like, people do use that as like a big stick to wave around. Sure, it's like, oh, I have several hundred hours in this game and I'm therefore... But then, on the other hand, if you discard the absolute the most idiotic people, then it's very hard to defend that it doesn't matter, or it's like entirely irrelevant, because it actually delivers a significant amount of information very, very quickly and efficiently. Because for one, it tells you usually that, well, discarding lying, of course, but it tells you like how invested a person is in the video game. So if someone's got several thousand hours on the game, they'll certainly, at the very least, they've demonstrated that they care enough to actually play the game, which I think is important, especially for distinguishing people who, you know, some tourists that come in and say, oh yeah, I absolutely know what this should be, but do you play it? Like, no. I don't care about this game. I mean, I do care, but I don't play it. But I care. I should be allowed to decide, but, you know. Stuff like that. And then you've got... Same as comparing credit hours for uni students or clinic hours for a med student or doctor. It's a measurement of experience. Yeah, it's a proxy for experience, effectively. And it's very, very obvious that, you know, if you phrase the argument as hours do not equal experience, I think that's perfectly fine and agreeable. Like, I don't see how you can counter that, because that's obvious. You can have people who have thousands of hours and are stupid, and you can have talented people who... And he kind of brings that up in the video, which is funny because that argues against his own point. It's like he says it's an outlier and it doesn't really apply to video games, but... Like, if you ask me if I want to talk about deep game mechanics with someone who's experienced the game for several hundred versus several thousands of hours, versus someone who's just picked up the game and is basically figuring out how WASD works, then, you know, I'd rather exchange experience with the person with the 1,000 hours, and then it is relevant for me. The information is relevant for me. It's very obvious is that whoever wrote that article probably couldn't even beat the tutorial in Cuphead. It's a YouTube video, not an article, but I'd give him credit for that. Surely he would beat the tutorial. Come on. It feels like a really stretched. I'm gonna respond, and I make sure I don't have further Steam notifications. it feels like massively clickbaited, because the real point being made is don't get discouraged from sharing your opinion when you don't have the same big number of hours as the other person or like the other people. But then there's an amount of respect also coming with a high number of hours, coming in terms of cred. It's kind of like, it's supporting information, and again, it's not that the argument you are defending is that, you know, like if you make your claim that it doesn't matter, then any way in which the information is useful breaks your doesn't matter argument, as far as I'm concerned. Because is, you know, if I'm talking to a person and I want to like engage in good faith, I'd like to extract as much information as I can from that person and basically help them get to their point and convey their point to me. So then, like, first of all, of course I'd like as much information as I can get, because, you know, anything I can get, I can draw conclusions from. So then, there's basically no information that is, as long as the person isn't lying, there's basically no information that's like a detriment to me. All of it is beneficial. But you know what? You know what else is a really bad thing you want to do if you want to talk to someone in good faith? It is call them, you know, basically tell them that what they say is just a dick measuring contest and it doesn't matter and you don't care. And it is all coming from a guy whose like channel motto is everything is interesting and let me tell you why. I don't understand how you have that channel description and you made a video titled X doesn't matter. Stop talking about it. It's really weird. Basically, it's complaining and saying I'm mad because no one wants to listen to my opinion on video games because I suck at them. I think it's something... No, I forgot again! Oh man. Next time I am taking a break from talking in that particular place, I think. I think it's I don't really know. I think it's like taking like an observation as in, oh look, there's a lot of people who have a lot of hours or are otherwise famous on the internet, and they have opinions on video games, but those opinions are not correct. But drawing the conclusion that the number of hours doesn't matter from the fact that some people who have a lot of hours are incorrect is a stretch too far. Another way to think about it would be, imagine you have two people and they both have the same, you know, cognitive ability, the same reasoning skills, the same, you know, IQ, whatever. Like basically two clones of the same person, and then you sit them in front of a video game and you let one of them play the game for 10 hours and you let the other play the game for 1,000 hours. And then you know, and then which one do you think is going to have more experience and more to say about the game? Because I think you would have to be disingenuous to say that the person with 10 hours is going to have equal insight to the person with 1,000, with all other things being equal, of course, in this hypothetical example. So, and then especially if you want people to form opinions and you know, have them founded and have them, you know, then develop, then surely you want to encourage people to actually put time into things they want to develop opinions on. especially, you know, especially stuff like gameplay, and, you know, especially things that are not, because he uses this as an example. It's like, look, this person is making an analysis of a story of a video game without even playing the game, and that doesn't make the opinion any less valid. Like, I mean, sure. As in, you could, if you took like a description of a plot of a movie, and then you criticize that completely outside of the context of how it's implemented in the movie, then surely, you know, that could still be a valid critique. You could still, like, find holes in the story and, you know, find out what works and what doesn't. Like, yeah, absolutely, but does this mean that you can criticize the movie without watching it? Or does it mean you can, like, your critique, you know, if you watch the movie once, your critique is going to be as accurate as someone who has watched the movie several times and taken notes and such? You know, because I don't know. I hope you do see why exactly this this bothers me so much. My autistic brain is incapable of letting this go, apparently. having a hard time. Somebody has sinned against facts and logic, and I must own liptards. When I see that, you know, my owning liptard muscles start to flex on their own. I can't do that guy. Because I want the magnet. I've got to buy that. So yeah. I am wondering if because on one hand, I don't really want to make a response video, like, per se, because I find that almost, I find it almost a waste of time to make a response video or something like that, because I am actually much more interested in talking about the topic than I am debunking the video in some way, because I think there's a lot to talk about and think about with regards to, you know, how important credentials are, what they mean. So he does make a point against credentialism towards the end of the video. He, like, summarizes all of it as, you know, sometimes some people demand to be taken more seriously just because they have a credential, and isn't that wrong? And then sure, like, if you have an idiot with a credential that, you know, if you have an idiot with a credential who's trying to bite off more than he's capable of, then, like, sure. Hold on. There's something wrong with the chat, I think. It's completely blank on my phone, which is not reassuring. There we go, it's back. Okay. Sorry, I'm paranoid after the chat has broken on me, like, several times. Almost dodged it. Okay, so surely you have credentialism. Yeah, so then you remember that. So okay, I'm gonna talk about the nuance I think is missing from the video effectively, and just see how much I actually have to say about it. So you've got credentialism, which is the idea that, you know, in order to be an expert in a given field, you need to have a credential from an institution that's an authority on the subject, effectively. And then you have the counter movement to that, which is, no, you don't need credentials. All you need is, you know, all you need is skill in the field, and then, you know, everybody should recognize you on the skill. But that gets, I think, a lot more complicated when you take into account that your ability to verify and validate someone's skill is actually, well, for the most obvious frauds, like, you can usually tell by the way they speak. But even then, it's not very hard to get tricked by someone who's a smooth speaker, but doesn't know anything about the subject he's speaking about. Like, that absolutely does happen. So then, the question becomes, well, how do I differentiate between the people who legitimately know what they are talking about, and between the people who are just very good at manipulation? And so then credentialism kind of creeps back in because, well, you know, you effectively outsource the checking of correctness to the institution, to an institution which has trust, and then the institution is kind of tasked with maintaining its own credibility so that the credentials it gives out are valuable because they mean that someone had to go through something, so it's more likely than not that they have experience and they have expertise and they are able to solve problems. Because of the if the institution neglects to properly check for that, then the institution decreases its own credibility, and then all the credentials it issues are in question. But then that becomes a problem once the institution like ceases to effectively gatekeep the credential. Then you end up with a bunch of people with credentials and you can't really differentiate between, like, the credential becomes worthless again if it's not, you know, backed up with real meaning that comes from, for example, rigorous testing requirements. So, like, you've got people who have to go through something that is really difficult. So there's a balance to that, and I know that is, you know, fence sitting and lay enlightened centrist position, etc., etc. But it's not by no means a simple problem. Is what I'm kind of getting at with that. And once again, that's not, you know, that's not your credential doesn't matter. I mean, if your credential doesn't matter, then that's a shame. Which I get it. I get it. My credential doesn't really matter. But does this mean we should not have credentials at all because there can be frauds and you know, everything can go to waste? It's like, no, not really. Ideally, you would want to have a credential system that is trustworthy so that people can rely on it mostly. Because at the end of the day, if you think about it, you know, in a society where you do have to check literally everything yourself, is it because, you know, I absolutely understand. I understand due diligence. I understand you want to act in your own interest. You want to make sure, you know, what you're engaging with is actually good for you and nobody's scamming you. Like, absolutely all of that. That is good. You should be able to do that. You should do it. You should, you know, you should remain conscious and alert. But on the other hand, I don't want to live in a society where I go to a restaurant and I have to be very careful and, you know, bring with myself a bunch of chemical tests because there's a high likelihood that the restaurant serves poisonous food. Okay, let me take a break from speaking to not die here. See, we wait, we do the double jump, and then we do the same here, double jump, and we are through. So, like, I don't wanna... I understand the principle, because the principle is effectively, you know, you are responsible for yourself, so act in a way that, you know, is in accordance with your own interests. Don't expect other people to bend over backwards to accommodate you. It's effectively what the principle is. But this is really not... This is really not... Like, the flip side that is of this that is usually used is that you can do whatever because we are a society, we are, well, we are all individuals, and individual freedom is the most important, and you basically wanna do that, and that lands you in a position where, you know, you have a lot of stuff, you can't trust any of it, you have to verify everything, you can't, you know, you can never relax, so to speak. You always have to be on high alert, which, you know, that's not something I'd like to live with. I don't want to be in that mode 24/7. I'd much rather be... I'd much rather... It's a trust thing, right? I'd much rather live with people I can trust than live among people who, you know, are gonna screw me over at any opportunity. I'd rather have a community of people that I trust, and then we occasionally filter the frauds out, than live in a community where everybody is a fraud and I have to navigate with utmost caution to not get screwed over by all the frauds around me. Is effectively what I'm getting at with this. That's the kind of point I'm making. So, like, you know, your experience, or like your time spent doing things doesn't matter. It's, you know, there's also another side to this argument. It's like, well, sure, you can say it doesn't matter, but then, you know, why not? Why not gather all of that? Why not gather the time, gather the experience, so that you can show to me, you know, you present to me that you have actually put in the time. It's like, sure, it's not just, you know, it's not just that you claim you have that and you ask me to, you know, to test you so I can find out that you really did it. It's also, look, I've put this much time into this, I've invested the time, you should listen to me. You know, you have more of a reason for you to, it's like, you have a reason, you can invest some of your time into me, because look, I've been investing my time into this, right? It's not, you know, no, trust me, bro, you know, I do have 2 hours of experience, but I have a really good opinion, and just, you know, just trust me, please. It's much more kind of believable, or much more respectable when you go about it from the other side of, like, look, I've put in the time, you know, I respect. It's about respect, really, showing respect. It's like, yeah, sure. Well, that's another way in which it matters, because that's what I'm basically doing. I'm just listing the different ways in which you can okay, there's a boulder sequence. I'm dead. That spike is awful. If you hold space for a little bit too long, you perish instantly to the rock, because you can't climb back out again. Back to the start we go. All this gives me an excuse to spend more brain power on thinking instead of playing the game. How about that? You've got that. You know, you've got all of that on kind of credentialism, and also showing respect to other people by you know, proof of you investing the time to do things kind of quote-unquote the proper way. And especially in the realm of video games, because that's another, let's go for another layer of this, right? Another layer of this is, if you, there's one thing to have theoretical knowledge of the game, and you can talk about game design and whatever, in terms of that. But then, on the other hand, how much does your opinion actually matter, if you cannot perform what you are talking about in-game? It's, I guess, a question, because you do have coaches, like, even in regular sports, you have coaches who like coach teams without playing themselves, so I guess you could take that position. But I think there's something to the point, and I like take this with, I don't know, a grain of salt or whatever. There's an important question when you want to discuss experience and knowledge and what you actually know and what you can say correctly. It's like, sure, it's I've phrased this question before as you know the classic analogy, or like monkeys and typewriters, right? You have infinite monkeys with typewriters, and eventually they are going to type whatever you can imagine, because there's an infinite time. They are going to type the exact words a human would type. So then, you know, if you, for example, copy an opinion and just parrot it and say it back, like, do you really know that? What does it mean for you to know that? Do you know that as in you've memorized it? Do you know that as in you can implement it? Do you know that as in you understand why it is the way it is? Can you apply the same principle to other things? Do you know when the principle no longer applies? Like, do you know the exceptions to the rule? How much of that is you remembering the thing versus actually knowing it? And then how do you know the thing is true unless you've kind of experienced it for yourself? And this is especially in the realm of video games, and especially in the realm of complex video games, where you have a delicate balance of different components and mechanics and such, and there's many different playstyles and ways to approach any given situation. I'm thinking, of course, about TF2. It's like, you know, how much do you actually know about the game? How much of the meta, quote unquote, how much do you know about the meta? Like, what's the most effective tactic available? I think that's the definition of what meta is an acronym for. So, you might know what is usually regarded as the meta, but do you know what the most effective tactic with your playstyle is? Do you know when it applies? Do you know the nuances of, oh, this works in this mode but it doesn't in this one? And do you know them as in, for example, if presented with a new mode or a new map, can you identify how it will, you know, kind of, can you predict how that will affect how the different mechanics interact, and can you pick the best strategy from the get-go in a situation where you don't know beforehand what it is going to be? It's stuff like that that also makes me think that bringing the whole situation to a simple evaluation of whether your opinion is wrong or right, that is usually, it's as long as you leave the basically the idiot circle on Twitter, it becomes and very specific and simple opinions, it immediately becomes very complicated to actually resolve things. And then once again, here's another way in which your hours do matter. You've got So imagine you're a game developer and you are looking for feedback, and then, you know, the players of your game give you feedback, then surely you would want to know how many hours of time they've spent in your game. Because there's going to be things that absolute noobs don't understand and interact with, and it might be frustrating to them because they haven't learned, and you might, you know, you might glean from there that perhaps you need to explain certain mechanics better, or maybe simplify them in a way that is easier to understand. But those people are likely not going to have an understanding of how the game shapes when you have experienced players playing it, when people have figured out what is most effective, what is really good, what is overpowered perhaps, because, you know, and what is unfun, because, I don't know, in a good matchup you kind of have to pick it for a reason, and then the other person also has to pick it, and then becomes, you know, the most effective tactic is at the cost of fun, which is something that the newer player that is just experimenting and finding stuff out might not notice at all. So then, you know, the hour count is pretty important. And this is funny because this is also an argument that Lucid brings up in his video. Because he does say that, you know, if anything, your hour count might be a detriment to your opinion, because you might have bias, because you've gotten used to certain issues and you no longer see them as issues. Which is actually an argument for why your hours do matter, you know, if anything, because you wanna filter out. You might want to use the hours to filter out the people with high hours. It's information. It's information you can do whatever you want with. It's like, once again, it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make your... Phrase it as, it doesn't make your argument automatically true. Which is obvious, so I guess it doesn't make for a good video, and it doesn't make for, like, really effective clickbait. It's kind of what I'm looking at with that. Coaching makes sense in professional level circumstances where the difference in skill starts falling victim to inherent talent like reaction speed. At that level, someone knowledgeable in the mechanic, tactics and basic skill sets can pass on what they know to someone with just a better ability to utilize that info. Yeah, that's a fair point. So still want the coach to, you know, to understand the game on the level. And like once again, he still has a lot of hours in what he does. He still spends a lot of time coaching and he gathers a lot of experience. It's just a different kind of experience to the player on the field. And it's also, the coach probably sees a lot more in terms of the team playing, like how different players interact with one another on a kind of meta level, where like each player... I'm kind of, like, this is a generalization, it's probably not accurate to how football works, but you kind of gather the idea, right? Is once again, like, the amount of experience is absolutely relevant, and if you bring it up, it's same like if you were to bring up, like, what, I don't know, what league or whatever you play in football or soccer or however you want to call it, you bring that up, it makes a difference, right? If you play like street soccer with your friends versus if you play at a high level, that's going to make a difference what you play, which again doesn't make your hour count irrelevant. And Lucid also makes this point, kind of. He says like, oh, but you don't know what the player did during those hours, and it's like, sure, but that is not an argument for why the hours are relevant. That's an argument for why you would want even more information about this person. But you know, the point of the video is stop talking about the hours. It's not, you know, bring in more specific information. It's it stopped talking about it, stopped bringing it up at all. So, like, I've been talking about this for a little while, and I think there's more. There's probably even more to be explored in this regard. It's the stop talking about it is just particularly annoying to me, and it's also a command that makes me want to talk about it. It's like, stop talking about it, because that's just like comparing penis lengths, and you don't want to do that, right? It's like, bro, I understand that it can be that, but that's why I don't have a Twitter account, and I'd recommend you do the same, I think. Frankly, I think maybe that has a lot to do with the cause of this this problem. You should, just as a rule, you should not listen to Twitter about basically anything. A good coach builds a team that doesn't need them come game time. That makes sense. The coach also fulfills a different role to the players. Effectively, What am I talking about? I'm talking about a video that annoyed me. I'll keep, probably won't, I probably will, like, after this I'll probably not bring it up once again, but, oops. I find the topic interesting to talk about. I think that's, okay, hold on. Actually, let's see. What can I buy? I can buy more damage, and I can buy. I'm gonna buy this because I'd like to have a way to quickly restore my health. There we go. And I'm gonna focus up to this part as well. Pardon. A little bit of lack of mentally. I missed space. Okay, there we go. Does that come back out, or do I have to go back? No, it comes back. Okay. I'm gonna wait out the one-hit kill lasers as well. So, pardon. This is a particularly treacherous section. Oh no, I just realized something. This run might be screwed from the get-go. Because, where I died in the boulder chase. And, because I died in the boulder chase, there's going to be a little point, a little, like, spirit thingy where I died, which is going to give me a level, and that causes Ori to stop in place and admire the new level he's got, like the new level point whatever, and that is probably going to get me run over by the boulder. Now that I think about it, which might be pretty funny if that happens. Have you been watching any of the new Donnie and Clarence show? No, I don't think. Unless you mean like Tommy's podcast, question mark? This Don wasn't... Do you mean Don? Because Don's been on something today, I've not yet gotten to it. I've basically stopped watching anything. I can't be arsed. I like look at my YouTube feed, and all the videos I look at, it's like, this is all clamoring for my attention, and I just, I basically am, at this point, I'm actively looking for, like, badly made thumbnails, you know, weird video titles that do not follow a trend. Stuff like that. I'm looking basically, it's like, how likely is it that this is made by someone who just is passionate by the subject versus someone who runs the channel like a business and is effectively trying to sell me the Patreon or like whatever else to basically get me to pay them money in ad revenue or otherwise. If you watched the Big Les show back when it was getting posted in the server, I might have? I don't know. Maybe send me a link and I'll look at that and I'll tell you if I watched any of that. I don't recognize it though, so that presumably means I didn't. So, apologies. There we go, we are once again here. Oh, I forgot to turn off the UI. Oh yeah, this game has a it's just a kids show made by some Australian entirely in MS Paint. Okay. Is it this? Did you mean to type slide and unless it's like the guy's a schizo and that's what it's... Fine with both, frankly. At this point, like, you know, I watched some guy being very autistically angry about like Toy Story 5, no 4, or 5? I don't remember. It's like a 3-hour video of a guy being extremely mad about a Toy Story movie. And I've been very pleasantly surprised by the raw passion on display from that man. Skits is slang from the show. Means awesome. Okay. I've definitely not watched that. Okay. I'm gonna shut up for a little bit and try to evade the rock. Oh, this is gonna screw me, isn't it? Please. Yeah, I said that's gonna happen. Exactly what I said it was going to happen happened. Can I disable this mechanic somehow? I don't think I can. I'd have to, I think, delete my save file and start over to erase this. Because this is gonna screw me over again, because I'm gonna have to jump over that, and then I'm gonna get gotten by the insta-kill rock up there. Some of the best show writing I've seen in years. Send it to me. I might... That's a big recommendation. I might actually watch it. I might manage to get myself to sit down and watch a piece of entertainment, which I am having significant trouble actually making myself do. I can't be asked to watch movies. I can't be asked to watch anything. I can't be asked to read. I just want it all to end. Really tired. Really tired. Not really tired of talking yet, though. So perhaps that's a little bit of narcissism speaking. Perhaps. And back to start once again. Don't worry, I'll get better at the rock part in no time. I just have to figure out how to not get screwed over. Because I'm fairly certain, like no matter, because it stops you in your tracks immediately when you collect the ability point, which is a problem. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. I mean, it's a cool... The stopping in place part, not the, you know. Okay. Kaboom. Ugh. Big yawn. You see, now I've run out of topic, because my big thing I was thinking about lately I've exhausted it kind of in terms of the you know, your hours of playtime don't matter. I've kind of gotten through that. Now I don't know what to do. Surely there's another topic I could think of that is equally as aggravating to me, and then I can rant about it for like the next decade. Gotta get some mileage out of that, you know? All 4 seasons of the main show only add up to like 6 hours. There's a fan channel somewhere that's tried putting all of it in chronological order. Alright. There you go. You got me the link. Thanks. I'll take a look at that, hopefully. No promises though, because I have a horrendous track record in terms of telling people I'll watch something and then forgetting about it entirely. Pardon. I don't know how to get myself to like consistently do it, but I've tried to stick to free time being basically okay. It's my free time, so I literally do what I feel like doing and not what I think would be productive. It's like trying to make sure I'm in control of what I do, instead of feeling like I need to be productive all the time. And by productive I mean, I don't know, writing some code, designing something, or whatever. Oh, we can drop down here, that's a little time save. Like a couple of seconds probably. For that semi-solid platform. Semi-solid platform, like in Mario Maker, I think they have that sign. Although I'm not entirely certain. But I think that's in Mario Maker. When you place elements on the course, they have like these little chorus introductions or introduction or whatever, and it sounds like that. Hence running from a boulder for the 3rd time. Well, to be fair, it is excitedly different every time I get there. I die in a completely fresh and new way. I'm thinking I could drop these mushrooms, kill this guy, get this thing, and maybe then the explosion clears the wall here. But I lose the XP then because I can't get back up, so I think that's why I opted to not do that plan. What's the problem? I think you're a little bit delayed on the stream, and then I'm getting... I don't remember what you're referring to. Because, I may or may not... Oh, I know what. You're probably referring to me saying that I do what I like to do in my free time. You know what? That's fair. That's a fair assessment. In fact, I feel, you know, me exposed, this man is playing a video game just as an excuse to ramble for an hour and a half. And that is true. This is literally just, this is what happens when you... This is what happens when you don't have people talk about this stuff too. Rambling happens on the internet. You know. It's not actually that, like the level of conversation of, wow dude, yo dude, isn't this crazy? I was like, that's totally crazy, bro. So that level of discussion is a little bit annoying, I'll be honest. It's like, wow, dude, that's kind of, whoa, that's crazy, bro. It's like, is it really though? Or is it, you know, is it really that crazy, or is it just something that you thought about for 5 seconds? And then shared it, and then didn't think about it further, and so that's crazy, bro, or gets just makes no sense when you think about it for more than those 5 seconds. So if you already, you know, if you've already thought about the topic for more than 5 seconds, and somebody's like, wow, bro, ain't that crazy? Then you think, it's like, man, like you how do I engage in a conversation with you without making you very offended? Because no matter how I bring it up, if you notice that that's what I'm doing, you are going to be annoyed because you will think, oh, I'm calling you an idiot. And I don't even necessarily mean to do that. Gotta get those numbers up. You don't want anyone mistaking for a noob. Okay, here's me figuring out what that could refer to once again, because I think I've already... Why are you like this? I just took 3 damage for no reason. Hopefully I don't... hopefully it doesn't eat my spacebar input. Hello? But I am an idiot. Why would I be offended? Well, perhaps you are an honest idiot, you know, and that gives you some points, you know. Okay, I'm gonna get into another topic that's interesting, or maybe I shouldn't actually, because it's near midnight. So you know what, I'll save that topic for another time. But it's a topic, it's somewhat related to hours of experience. It's relating to knowledge. And the famous quote of, you know, I know that I know nothing. And today on chat is the Facebook. That's true. I'm insurmountably mad. I don't even know if that word makes sense in this context, because I'm not sure what insurmountably means, but I'm hoping it means like big. I am bigly mad, in fact. It's the kind of cliff notes or like teaser trailer. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I should go to bed. Version of what I want to talk about is how difficult it is to actually know things, and that if you really, how much of what we actually talk about, what we know, is in fact, and this is kind of why I initially called the stream pretentious in insurmountably impossible to overcome. That makes sense. That makes sense in the context. Insurmountable anger is what I'm feeling. And this is why I initially called the stream, like I called it, like pretentious in parentheses. It's because I originally wanted to talk about this topic. Because this is kind of a, you know, ain't that crazy, bro, kind of topic. But the idea that, oh, we have all this knowledge. Maybe you have your takes on things, and you know, your thoughts, and you know, maybe I should like take it from my perspective, because like I have these thoughts and I have these ideas of what is correct and what is incorrect, and what is important and what isn't, and how these things connect, and how it is advice, you know, and how this and that, and I have relating to a specific domain. So, you know, I'm a programmer by trade, so I have a bunch of experience in that. And then because I have a bunch of experience, I am fairly deep in the... There's a couple problems with that, or like couple observations. One is that I feel like I'm losing the ability to teach people things the more I learn. Because I wanna inject too much nuance. I like have to be very careful about what I include and what I exclude from what I want to explain, so that it can be explained later, but so it doesn't like clutter up the mind of the person I'm trying to explain things to. It's very easy to just overwhelm someone with a bunch of knowledge that isn't necessarily important to start with, but is also... It might also be something cool I've learned in the meantime. It's oh look, I've noticed that this is actually like this. And you gotta fight the urge to share something like that with a person you are teaching for the first time, because they likely won't remember the information because they are very busy learning very new things, and that usually takes up a lot of brain space. And you kind of have to accept that basically any lesson you can teach people is going to be a kind of starting point, and then they have to kind of go out and learn by themselves. There's not really any way around it. In terms of like gathering experience and figuring things out. At the end of the day, you do have to. Because I don't think you can build an intuitive understanding of... I don't think you can build an intuitive understanding of a complex subject or a complex discipline or whatever. Anything complex, basically, for you to have an intuitive understanding and requires time spent and time invested and experience. And I don't think you can get the same level of knowledge and expertise in something like that without having the experience and having the time spent. It kind of comes back to the hours question. It's like, do the hours of experience actually matter? And then it's like, yes, it does. But yeah, because why is that? Here you go, another level. Another level of that is once again taking a step back. It's like, why do you have the opinion, and why do you share it in the first place? And what's the goal of that? Is it just to seem smart on Twitter, and that is why the opinion's being shared, or is it something productive? That you're sharing the opinion because you wanna, you wanna either convey an idea to other people, or maybe ask other people for their opinion, something like that. You wanna share information. And then it once again becomes relevant to insert the context of that into the discussion, because you want to know. Oh, hi Hunter. Hello. I learn from the mistakes of others who follow my advice. I like that. That is a good way, the social engineering way, I suppose, of gathering experience. Okay, let's go back down. I don't know, man. Ain't that crazy, bro? That we know all these things, but we don't actually know it. Yeah, let's go further into pretentious territory. You ever think about things and you end up in a place where you are frustrated that language is actually kinda unwieldy for certain ideas? Because I've been running into this, especially in programming, but generally when I want to think about things, I find myself... I find myself at the limit of my own capacity to think, because there's certain things I just can't fit in my brain. And then when that happens, when I can't fit it in my brain, no, don't things. When I can't fit it in my brain, I'd like to take it out of my brain onto a medium, like, for example, you know, notes, like, for example, a diagram, like, for example, some of the special programs I have to kind of chart out things and how they flow and how they connect to one another, etc., etc. But then, and of course, into language, because if you want to talk about something, then you want to have, you know, you want to have some way of conveying the ideas through language. And then there's a certain level of complexity I found at which it becomes really, really difficult to accurately convey anything via anything. It's like there's something there in the brain that is somehow connected, but getting that out to a form in which it is like written down and can be conveyed to someone else, or through a programming language to a computer, it becomes really difficult, and it really feels like, you know, I'm thinking and suddenly I arrive at this like wall inside of my own head, and there's not really a way around it in a simple way. It's like I can physically feel myself forcing my own head to slightly expand to accommodate. It's kind of how I describe that. And then from like that kind of approach and that kind of thinking, it then becomes fairly frustrating to like look at someone talking about something, and then like the discussion is on the level of, oh, you're stupid, bro, and then the other person is says like, no, it's you who are stupid, idiot. And then like the most surface level opinion on the subject is exchanged, and then there's a series of, ain't that kinda crazy, bro, of like 5 things being talked about. It's like, ain't that kinda crazy? And then when you look at that, once again, pardon the pretentiousness, but you go back, you take a step back from that and you look at it, and it's and you notice that instead of a productive exploration of a topic, it's just like people bickering and disagreeing on a level where it's not even relevant. Because if you take a look back at the whole, like, at the whole domain, then the concepts they are talking about are not even like exclusionary. And then maybe you see that one of the 2 people is just not expressing the ideas they have well, despite having good ideas. And then, you know, the other guy, instead of helping the idea to like propagate and come out and form it, and that guy is instead like, oh yeah, this is my opportunity to dunk on this idiot, haha, look at that, you phrased it incorrectly, and I am now going to make a hypothetical which makes you look stupid, haha, I've won the debate. And then it's just frustrating to watch. It's all I'm saying. It's a little bit annoying. I too am often frustrated by the limits of language. Now this could be entirely ironic or sarcastic, or it could be serious. So, because I don't know which one it is, I am going to withhold my opinion on this opinion. No, I'm kidding. I don't know if this is just me being particularly autistic. It might well be that I am, you know, unique combo of autism and a very particular profession has made me this way. To the point where I kinda am like this, and nobody else is, and then like everybody normal is looking at it and saying, bro, bro, calm down. It's not a big deal. We are Americans, so the option of all three is totally on the table. Damn it, now I've forgotten what, like, all three were. But I've probably made a list of something, and I already don't have it in my brain anymore. Terrible. Terrible, terrible. You see, that's why I need tools. That's why I use diagrams and such, because when trying to hold things in your head, at least in my head, I suppose, because I'm not holding things in your head, that would be weird. When I hold things in my head, I've most definitely run into capacity issues. It's a matter of, it's like, oh look, there's all this stuff I am trying to kind of, you know, whack together and make work together in a system. And then when I try and do that, I find out that if I want to dive into something particular in a certain, like, section of the thing, then I lose track of all the other things, and then I kind of have to go back and collect it with a little bit of the small thing done. And, you know, I look back at it in a way and try to remember what exactly the small piece, what exactly, like, the small piece is part of a whole, but I am trying to remind myself of, like, oh, what the whole was, what the whole actually was. It's kind of like with drawing, when you kind of focus on drawing a little detail, like a little bush or like one little character, and you so you zoom in to do that, like in digital. Of course, in digital, it's kind of the same in traditional as well. You zoom in, you do the detail, you focus on it, you build it, and then you kind of zoom back out and look at the whole picture. To remind yourself, it's like, does this still look good in the context of the entire thing? But then, necessarily to focus on all of that, you kind of have to, you know, temporarily stop looking at all the detail in particular of the thing you've been doing on the small scale, and instead you kind of take that as a whole, and look at, like, the overall impression it gives to the viewer. It's kind of how I describe it. So it's like, yeah, the brain's limited. Today in top 10 things obvious to anyone who's ever used the brain, probably. I never know. To be frank, I never know. Next up, unconfuse the Euro. Until and I will start speaking in Imperial, we'll be in a league of our own. You most definitely be. If you start speaking in Imperial, I'm going to probably explode. Because I don't understand who invented something like the foot measurement, and it has, like, I don't think it has anything to do with actual feet. Because I'm fairly certain if somebody's like 6 feet tall, like if I take 6 feet, that isn't going to amount to the distance that I'd expect a person that is 6 feet to actually be. So it's like, at least if you want to do that, you could have, you could have made the measurement. you know what I'm getting at, right? Wait, I didn't get screwed? Oh yeah, because I died in the meantime. There we go. We resolved the problem, actually. Feet is actually based off of a foot? Hold on, there's no way. Let me check. I'm standing up. I'm gonna find out how much distance 6 feet is. Now granted, maybe people in America have larger feet, but... Oh, I've got to mark the starting point somehow, mate. This is once again an educational stream, but it's only educational for me. We're that's what homeschooling is all about. Okay, that's 1, 3, 4, 5. Hold on, 6 wouldn't really fit. Okay, hold on. No, actually. Yeah, this. Yeah, okay, actually. You know, I am a little bit taller than my own 6 feet. So that makes sense, I guess. If somebody had a larger foot than I do, and I don't have a particularly large foot, it makes sense, actually. Okay, no, okay, I get it. Just my estimation of it, I think, is wildly off, because I'm not used to it, probably. Easier reference is the distance between your wrist and elbow. How is that compared to the foot? Okay, yeah, that's a couple of centimeters additional. Makes sense. Imperial feet came from England. It was a particular monarch's foot. That's pretty good. You just, you know, it's like you want to measure something, you just go hit up the king, and it's like, yeah, buddy, can I borrow your foot for a moment? I gotta measure something. Thanks, bro. Inch was a thumb. Makes sense, actually. Simple enough. Although, I guess that makes you like an estimate. But yeah, there's a little bit of a problem in that everyone has a slightly different, you know, like different size of body parts. So, but then on the other hand, with like centimeters and such, you don't really have a direct reference to a body part. I guess you could say like a centimeter is like one segment of your thumb, like of your finger, but that's. People have different hand sizes, so like no matter what you do, you're gonna have inaccuracies. I don't know. You can, you know, in terms of distance, I can defend meters a little bit, because meters are basically like taking one step is effectively around a meter. And that you can measure distance pretty easily like that, because you just walk. And then approximately the number of steps you took is the number of meters you've traveled. Something like that. Did I want to... Wait, what? Oh, I don't have the ability yet. That's, Wait, I can't buy this either? I'm stupid? I don't have a point? What happened? What happened to my brain? It just... you know, converting between units has clearly frozen my brain, which is exactly the effect you wanted, so... You nailed it! Congratulations! Dude. No, I don't wanna perish. But I am on a good... Okay, we are out. The only problem is there's no way to restore health until I get out of this hellhole. So I just gotta be extra careful about it, I suppose. Actually, hold on. I don't want to go down all the way, because if I go down... Like, hold on, let's look at the map. Because, yeah, there's this section, and I need to get out up top. But there's an ability point down there, so I'm gonna go grab it, I think. There we go. And we hop down to this. I pick this up. Brilliant. Now just gotta focus up to not fall off the off the stage and die. That would be embarrassing. I can at least end the stream on a high. What? Was I the only one? Or did I just fall through a solid platform? Roll it back. Roll it back. I can't even save here to restore 1 health point, so I guess... I guess I just gotta take no damage. Oh no, oh no. I'm going to likely perish. I am in danger. Imperial is useful for people who actually measure things. Metric is for people who only think about measuring stuff. You know what? It's fairly convincing. I too hate academics. Oh, don't fall off. Okay. Now, do not perish. Uh-oh, I'm dead. Not perish, he said. Man, I got too cocky because I because I made the 3 jumps. And I was like, it would be pretty bad if I landed on the jump pad instead of landing next to it. And then I observed myself do exactly what I didn't want to do. Darn it. Alright, that's probably good. It's probably a good point. That's probably a good point to end it for tonight. That's fine. Once again, I have the stream has had great educational value. I have learned about why metric units are for academics and therefore should be finished and ended. We should never see them in use ever again. Okay, so I think with that I'm going to stop for tonight, and I'm going to be back at some point when I have more ranting to do. Perhaps. Next rant is probably gonna be something about knowledge, and I'm gonna... I need to work on being more pretentious, I think, because I don't think I satisfied the title today enough. I should invent some fancy pants terms for what I'm talking about, so that people that listen have no clue what I mean. You know, that's how you wanna get real good at conveying ideas, is when you just invent. It's like, I have this like 7-word concept that I don't really know how to express any more briefly. So then you figure out that, yes, you know, what if I simply, and I know this is shocking to some viewers, what if I simply name it something and then use that name instead of the 7 words? Which, now, granted, that is how abstraction works, and abstraction is pretty useful. On the other hand, though, if that word doesn't like somehow convey the same concept more briefly, then you'll likely end up with people having to kind of translate the word and insert the 7 words instead, which just makes it... You basically invent the German language. Yeah, as you said, Backfangesicht. It's German for punchable face. Yeah, Backfangesicht. Probably something like that. Backfangesicht. Schicht. Backfangesicht? Something like that? I don't know. I have learned German for like 6 years, but I never wanted to learn it, so I don't actually know it at all. The school system has not beaten me. My resolve is unbreakable. I cannot be made to learn German, apparently. If I really decide I can't be taught something, I will not learn it, damn it. And if that ain't a testament to how strong-willed I am, then nothing is. Right, anyway, thank you very much for showing up. It's always fun to have someone in chat to talk to, ramble on a little bit. No, hopefully it's been at least vaguely entertaining. And I guess see you next time when I tackle such an interesting topics as like what is knowledge and wow, that's kind of crazy, bro. Isn't knowledge kind of crazy, bro? Okay. Bye. Good night. Go